I have tailored my presentation accordingly. I am not going to showboat, I'm not going to show off. I have a remote control in my hand, so if I go click, that's as far as the excitement goes. I'm going to do an introduction with a few slides and then a few words afterwards. I'm not going to give you death by PowerPoint, because that's a pet hate of mine. I'm going to introduce you to three friends, a group of friends. Not friends on Facebook, not on Instagram, real friends, not people on Twitter. Well, they are on Twitter, but that's another story. This is Jane. She's an information security consultant. As you can see from the picture there, a lot of men in short pants. Don't ask me about that. And her in the middle, a few years ago, ex-RAF. Ex-RAF, intelligence and security, and an avid snowboarder, a bit of sailing as well. Watch this bit. Click. Did that work? Yes! Right, that's Noel. Noel is another information security consultant, pardon me. Slightly different. He's come from a IT background, similar to some of you guys here, where he's been in infrastructure, services, and IT support, and he's moved into information security through that route. Likes his canoeing and kayaking, triathlons, bit of running. You've got Molly, yeah, and his pet dog Molly. He's a man and boy since he left school, a TA soldier. I'm enjoying this bit. Click. You haven't worked out how I'm doing this, have you? No. Yeah, okay, James. Bless him. Right. Always mucking about with his hair. Could never shave. And snowboarding again, coincidentally, mountain biking. Works for Citrix. He's a security tester, not actually a penetration tester. He looks at the next releases of Citrix software, works at their Cambridge establishment, and has a couple of dogs as well. Lives near Papworth, if I remember right. Now, okay, they're all mates. Very, very good mates. But what also have they got in common? What comes next? Click. There you go. They're all British Army officers. They're all in the same unit that I'm a member of. So I'll try and whistle through this really quickly because there's a few facts that I want to throw at you. It's called, I'll leave that picture on, but it says what we're called after this. It's the Land Information Assurance Group. We do information assurance for land. It does what it says on the tin. And we are all specialist officers. We are all taken from Civvy Street, and we're put into uniform. We're shown how not to shoot each other in the foot, let alone ourselves, and then we're let loose onto the outside world of MOD and the systems of which they run. And the three of those are chosen very specifically because Jane is an ex-regular member of the armed forces. Noel is a mainstream TA guy that has moved his way into this unit, and James, very similar to myself, has come and had the tap on the shoulder. Hey, we really like what you can do, why don't you join the TA? That's why I made the jib about the shaving and the colouring his hair. That has now stopped. You can't tell because he's all suited and booted in Afghanistan there a few months ago, but trust me, he can shave now. So how does that work? Well, it doesn't work like mainstream TA. So one of the messages I've got to tell you here is that it's not what the perception is about people going out for 6 to 9 months a year, once every 3 years, and then going and deploying into theatre or wherever that may be. Oh, I missed something off. I nearly said something there. I'm not allowed to swear during this one, but I'm going to say shits and giggles because it's the term that we use a lot. We go out for shits and giggles. It is excellent stuff when we go out there because we're very, very lucky. We go out for 10 days. We go to theatre, we go there, we go and do, which I'll explain later what we do, and then we come back in time for tea and, well, unfortunately no medals because you don't get medals for being out in theatre for 10 days. So we go out probably once or twice a year, no more than twice a year, because unless your personal life can allow that, and then you come back and you just blend back into Civvy Street. So a lot of people actually do that as their holiday. Some people take, James for instance, takes unpaid leave. Noel, who works for Serco, they have an arrangement. I'm very lucky because I get some paid leave because I work for Raytheon, who are a US company. US companies are a lot more, I'm not making any judgment on UK companies, by the way, but they're a lot more attuned to the reserve forces and they understand the challenges that we face. So I get paid leave to do this. We don't do more than 99 days a year. I think I've got all the facts down there. And most people do 30 to 40 days a year, when it's actually 19. Hold that thought for a moment, because I'm going to come and try and put that into your context. So how does that work on people joining? Well, it usually means about a couple of weeks in the first year and a couple of weeks in the second year doing training. The first one's a couple of weeks up in Strensel. I can't remember where that is, but it's a godforsaken place. And the other 2 weeks are at Sandhurst, which is absolutely awesome. Again, it's stressful at time, but when you look back, you go, I'm really proud that I ever went there. So, why did I mention the 30 to 40 days a year? Well, our problem is that we face exactly the same challenge that the UK cybersecurity challenge is facing now, is to address that skill shortage. Because we're only meant to do the 20 days a year, roughly speaking, and we're doing almost double that, that means our strength now, which is 50 to 55 people, is completely undermanned. We're being expected to have approximately 50 people by the end of this financial year, by April next year, and 80 people by the end of the year, April the year after that. Where are we finding them? Well, we can't. It's very difficult to find these people. A, because it's difficult to say exactly what those skills are, because they're very broad. And secondly, we don't think those people are around. And maybe thirdly, you've got to be into that to really do it. You don't really want to go, well, do you know what, I don't fancy going to Afghanistan and doing that. And that, in this case, is probably what all the things you're looking at these 4 days. So we've got forensic investigators in there. We've got penetration testers and vulnerability assessment people. We've got security and information risk advisors. We've got security architects. We've got people that are ex-members of the police e-crime unit. We've got people from Oracle that are Oracle specialists. We've got Citrix people that are Citrix specialists. We've got people from Microsoft. We've got people from the AV vendors, Symantec springs to mind. So we bring on all those skills. And what normally happens is that a major, for instance, Jane, in this case, I'll choose her, would be tasked with going to, I'll do a UK one, because a UK task is quite easy to explain. We get tasked with having a look at a secure system. Now that could be everything from restricted, if you understand the protected market schemes, don't worry. It's sensitive information all the way up to things that are highly sensitive depending on where that system is. And she will look at that and she will go, right, okay, I need a detachment of debt, a TST, a technical security team to go out and do the test. So she will call on someone like maybe Noel and ask Noel to be the tech lead, and he will go, right, okay, what's the scope of this? What have we got to do? And then he will go and look at some techs. Maybe I play that role quite a lot. I play the tech lead quite a lot. And we'll get James, and we'll maybe get, say it's an Oracle job, so we'll go and get the Oracle guy in, or if it's a web apps, we'll get some of our web apps testers. If it's a very network-centric one, we'll get some of the Cisco specialists that are in there, and we'll build a team up. This is all done by telephone. This is all done by emails, and this is all done weeks ahead of when the task is going to be. And then we'll go, do you know what, we're all really busy people. We haven't got the time to allocate to this, so what's the most effective use of our time? So a lot of the times what we do is we go to where that location is. What are you doing on Friday? because we'll come in on Friday morning and we'll start at 8 o'clock on Friday morning, and then we'll work through with your staff all the way through till the end of Friday, and then because you've got skeleton manning over the weekend, we won't be getting in your way, and we'll be doing vulnerability scans, the stuff that you were doing. Maybe not Metasploit, because the Metasploit kind of exploitation frameworks are not what we're trying to prove. We're looking for flaws and vulnerabilities within those systems, rather than proving how to actually get a foothold, how to use them as pivot hosts and the like. We don't need to do that. We can just show where those vulnerabilities are and move on. Then, on the Sunday, to give an example, we would then sit around with this big pile of NMAC reports, Nessus reports, and other tools that we use, some commercial, some open source, and we will then go and do the most difficult part, because that was easy. The most difficult part is then prioritizing what we've actually found to actually produce a report the next morning that we can sit in front of the commanding officer of that location and go, we have found this, this is our wash-up, this is what you need to do right now. They're the top 3, top 10, top 5, depending on what the criticalities are. And then in due course, we will send you the final report. And that final report will be produced in a matter of days, because we've got to do work on Tuesday morning. We've got a day job to go back to. Now, that's the UK-based work. Overseas, slightly different, because you've got to go through a whole mobilization process where you actually have to go up to a lovely place in Nottingham called Chilwell, which is the mobilization centre, and get jabbed and medical inspections and kitted out for uniform and body armour and helmet and weapon and the like. And then you go and fly out. And it takes a long time. It can take up to 2 weeks turnaround, so that's quite a different task. But ultimately, it's the same techniques that we use. What you've been doing today, and some of the techniques maybe that you'll see tomorrow with the forensics, and some of the other ones like network analysis and network forensics, and other some more of assurance roles with the security architecture. And then we'll come back, and then we'll be back at work on Monday morning going, what was all the fuss about? But ultimately, and I can say that word again, we do it for shits and giggles, because we don't do it for the money. There is no money in us doing this. There's a lot of professionalism involved. There's a lot of knowledge transfer between individuals. We do not do training, trade training. We do not sit down and do a Cisco course together. We do not sit down and do a Windows security course together. We are professionally qualified officers that have to bring those skills in. But if we have to get trained on using that gun on there you go, on your right, on my left, then yes, that's the training we do, but we don't do the trade training. And I've lost my train of thought now. Can you remind me what I was about to say? So the reason that the Army do it, because I've got back on track again, is that they have had a challenge in finding these skills. There was an estimate done about 2 years ago that the way this model works is about 1/10 of the cost of the commercial organisation doing it. That's in the UK based. When we actually go out into theatre, here's a real bonus, our pay is made up to our professional salaries. So if you earn, I'll just choose a number, it's not a real number, £100 a week, then you will get paid £100 a week. If the Army are paying you more, then obviously they won't pay you less when you go out to theatre. But if you earn, and I'm not going to use the figures, but they are quite large because the medics have this problem. We come in via a process that the medics, the anaesthetists, the veterinarians, don't know why they crept in there, and the nurses actually needed to get them out to theatre. Because when you watch those documentaries on television, the majority of those people are NHS. They're not regular Army soldiers. They are professional soldiers, but they're not regular Army soldiers. They are from the medical services that are in the UK, and they've used exactly the same model that we're doing now. Now, if you're getting excited, don't get too excited, because you have to be 27, and annoyingly most of you are under that age. And secondly, you have to have at least 3 years experience, professional experience in the trade that you want to go into. But this is the sales pitch, not only to you guys in 3 years' time and when you're past that age, but also to your employers as well, that this is a really good way to network. Just like Raytheon are engaged with the cybersecurity challenge to engage with the other sponsors, we get to meet other people that are like-minded. So there's a professional networking, there's the friendship, and I really can't understate the friendship that comes out of this. But there's also that professionalism, and there's a wonderful, wonderful sense of completion. When you've been out, you've found a system, you go, it's insecure, and we have to fix it. We don't fix it ourselves, by the way, but we have to see that it's fixed before we come back to the UK, because we would be wasting our time otherwise. I think that's about it. I lost a couple of bits on the way there, but hey, that's the way my presentations work. So if I'm going to just do this magic thing again, click. Oh, she's good. Oh, awesome. So that's who we are, the Land Information Assurance Group. We're in the Army, part of the Army, and we're under Raw Signals. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for your time.